Hey, guess what? It's time for yet another tricky quiz, number 6. Okay, here we go. First of all, what is the longest Roman numeral? We'll review and then give you a chance to figure it out. Well, you probably learned about Roman numerals in elementary school and then promptly forgot about them when you found out about, well, some things that were a little more interesting, if you catch my drift, except unless you're in the movie industry, in which case a lot of films still keep it so they don't make the film look too obvious. By the way, here's a side trivia question. Famous movie forgot to put the copyright on it and thus lost possession. Breakfast at Tiffany's. But in any case, here are the Roman numeral rules. 1 is I, 5 is V, 10X, 50L, C is 100, D is 500, M is 1,000. And in the earliest versions, they didn't do any contractions. You know what I mean, that if the number is 1 less than the next multiple of 5, you put it before and subtracts. You know, like IV is 4, XL is 90, DM is 900, etc., etc., etc. By the way, they actually had one for 5,000, and that was an M with a line on top. Let's not go there. So the question is again, what is the longest Roman numeral, adding all those letters up? Well, if you think of the numbers 1 through 9 and the multiples 10 through 90, 100 through 900, etc., the longest in each case is an 8. So it would be, well, should be about 3,888. I didn't go for 4,000 because that was going to be consistent with our observation of 3 not contracting to the 4th. Well, our next one is, and boy, do you get people on this one. What U.S. state is closest to Africa? While you're pondering that, the closest part of Europe, preferred by sailors in the old days to the United States, was Lisbon, and if you think about it, to Boston. That's kind of obvious. What state's closest to Africa? People go, North Carolina, Florida, New York, no, it turns out it's Maine. Take a look. And unless you're looking at a round globe, it's really hard to believe because we're all used to looking at that Mercator projection, which has Iceland way too big in size. And there it is. Well, how can one do mental compounding? I know a lot of you have trouble with arithmetic, let alone multiplying, subtraction. Where's my slide rule? And you're watching an old Perry Mason movie, and it's 48 years old, and Perry takes Della Street to lunch, and the lunch costs $10. What would that be worth today? And somebody goes, $40. How did you do that? Well, how did you do that? Well, it turns out there's something called the Rule of 72. People in biology often know about this. It'd be nice if you learned that in accounting. Turns out that if you have a percent annually and multiplied times the number of years equals 72, then it doubles. And it'll double again, meaning 4 times as much again. So let's see, 40 times, well, that's 4 times. 48 years ago, that would be 24, 3%. 3% is a very reasonable long-term compound rate. And here are some combinations. Okay, number 4. What single-letter stock symbol no longer exists? Well, stock symbols can range from a single to 5 letters. And 1 through 3 letters is on the New York or usually American exchange. 4 letters are often on the NASDAQ, which, by the way, is not an exchange. Don't get me started. And 5 are mutual funds. And if it's a 5-letter mutual fund ending in the letter X, then it's a money market. But I digress. So again, what single-letter stock symbol no longer exists? Well, here are the single-letter current stock symbols. I'm not going to read it to you. It's not one of those horrible PowerPoints where they read it to you word for word. I'm not in the third grade reading class. And let's see. S is Sprint Nextel. Used to be Sears. W was Woolworth, but there is no W now. That's the answer. Also, Z is Zillow. Used to be Zenith. Zenith Radio, if you like. And C is Citigroup. Used to be Chrysler. So the answer is W for Woolworth. Well, this is interesting, or at least I thought so, and certainly the countries involved did. What country flags were surprisingly the same at the 36 Olympics? They both showed up, looked at each other, and went, "What? Our flags are identical." And it actually meant in the year following, in 37, one of them actually changed it, adding a crown, and the other added a shield. And here they are, Haiti and Liechtenstein.